YouTube, what is going on? It is the Dual Threat Podcast here, your daily news source for all things sports. My name is Drew, and this is my co-host.
My name is Jacob. How is everybody doing today?
Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. We're going to get straight into the video here, ladies and gentlemen, on our predictions on two games that we very much disagree on. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Jacob, why don't you start us off with your prediction and why it's bad? Go ahead.
This man is absolutely clowning me for picking this side of the first game we're going to talk about. But we are talking about Alabama versus Tennessee. Okay, this is Alabama's coming off of honestly a pretty embarrassing showing against Texas A&M. Granted, they didn't have Bryce Young, but that's not to say that they won't have Bryce Young this week. He might not even play this week. Alabama looks just like I don't know without Bryce, it looked like they couldn't throw the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs ran really well, but he's the only competent person that did anything on their team. Milroe fumbled two times and threw an interception, and they just looked very, very sloppy on offense. They really got bailed out that Texas A&M's offense, couldn't move against a team of middle schoolers. Because if they had a competent scheme at all, they would have gotten absolutely blown out by A&M at home. So I don't know. I think Alabama needs to fix what they're doing fast, and I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it fast enough because, to be fair, they didn't only have quarterback problems. Like we've seen the entire season that their receivers have been bad. Um, their O-line's been solid, not the greatest in the world. Their defense has been a little suspect at times. And so we'll see. Well, I think this is going to be definitely the biggest test they've had so far, and probably the biggest test they're going to have for the whole season. Granted, they play Mississippi State next week and Ole Miss the week after, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be a pretty awesome game to watch, CBS game. But kind of flipping over to talk about the Volunteers for a little bit. I mean, Hendon Hooker is a beast. If anybody has watched any of their games this year, um, you know that Hendon Hooker is a beast. I mean, he absolutely pummeled LSU last week. Who, I mean, we love Mississippi State on the show. LSU beat Mississippi State. Like they, I mean, I don't know. Tennessee just looks different this year. I feel like every year, or not every year, but the recent couple of years, people have been coming into the season saying, "Oh, Tennessee's going to be different this year," and they've just kind of petered off. Like I think this year they're actually different, and maybe we'll see. Maybe they go out and lose to Alabama, but I like the Volunteers this week. If I had to put a score, if I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say something along the lines of like Tennessee, mm, like Tennessee 42, Alabama 31. That's if Milroe plays. I don't think it'll be close. If Bryce plays, it'll probably be like 42, 41, 38 maybe. Around there, 42, 38 probably. But I'm kind of us going based on what we saw last week, going under the assumption Milroe's playing, and I don't think this game's close. I think Tennessee kind of blows them out. I think the wrong team's favored by 8.5 points, to be honest.
I think I've lost all hope in humanity from what I've just heard from you today. You're telling me that the greatest coach of all time is going to lose to Tennessee. He has never done that at Alabama, and it will continue to be that way. Hendon Hooker is great, yes, but he has yet to face a defensive line like he's going to face this weekend. That's number one. Number two, Bryce Young will be back. I am speaking it into existence as of this moment. And Bryce Young, Heisman winning quarterback, we know what he's capable of. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs just ran a mile and a half last weekend against Texas A&M, looking like Forrest Gump running up and down the field. But not only is that the case, I believe Trayshawn Holden might, explode this weekend and have himself a really good game because Tennessee, they look great defensively from this past weekend playing LSU, but I think they may be fraud, Jacob. I don't know. We may have to get the fraud detector out because I'm sensing a little bit of Swiss cheese action going on that defensive end. Because I see some holes that offenses are not taking advantage of, but we know Nick Saban is capable of finding them, and he will take advantage of them. Not only that, but we still have Will Johnson on that side. We still have Toa Toa or whatever, however you say his name. They are both just amazing at their job, and they will get it done this weekend. I can guarantee you that Alabama will silence all of the haters, all of the people saying that they are no longer Alabama. Give me Alabama to win and to cover this weekend. Make Hendon Hooker's Heisman odds drop to the floor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving it Alabama 35, Tennessee 24. 24. That is my final call for that game. Jacob, what do you got to say about that?
I think that's a bad take. I think the only reason Alabama's still Alabama is because of their name. Nothing else looks like the Alabama of old. And I think I agree. Hendon Hooker's Heisman odds are going to be dropping to the floor, as in becoming shorter and shorter and shorter, like you want when your odds becoming
No,
closer and
sir.
closer to the favorite. I'm thinking Hooker will be top 4, top 5. Bryce Young will be nowhere in sight in the Heisman conversation after this game.
No, sir. The only hooker that will be in New York at the end of the year is in the strip clubs, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that first and foremost. All right, now we're getting into our second game. We are going to another one that we disagree on because I can tell you one thing. Michigan versus Penn State will show that Michigan is fraud, ladies and gentlemen. They are not the team that made the playoffs last year. Yes, they are undefeated up to this point. But dare I ask, who have they played this season? I see no one. I don't see anything. I will give some credit, just a tiny bit, of beating Iowa because that was a potential trap game. But Iowa's offense is just as bad as Texas A&M's, if not worse, which I didn't think was possible. So, that being said, they are running into Sean Clifford, the man who has played quarterback for 20 years at Penn State for my own father, James Franklin. Yes, my name is Drew Franklin. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. This game will put Penn State on the Big Ten East map. Nobody is talking about them. They are 5-0 right now. Granted, they have, just only dominated everybody they've played up to this point. I mean, let's take a look. They've beat Purdue by 4. I'll give you that. That one was kind of a slide through. But everybody else, I mean, even Auburn, who, granted, is not the best team in the world, they beat 41-12 at Auburn. That's pretty impressive to me. I think they beat Michigan this weekend. I think J.J. McCarthy, though he looks like the best of the two out of the two quarterback system they had going at the beginning of the year, and I believe that's who he's going to be starting this weekend. I don't know if he's capable of winning the big one, Jacob. And I'm not even talking about the game at the end of the year. I'm talking about Penn State this weekend. Give me James Franklin for a program-defining win. Give me Penn State. I've got them winning. We'll go in a low-scoring game here, 24-17. That's my final call, Jacob.
I think there's a lot of disrespect being thrown at the Michigan Wolverines right now. I mean, after last season, what else do you need? I mean, the knock on Harbaugh was always he can't beat Ohio State, beats Ohio State. The knock on Harbaugh is he can't win the Big Ten, wins the Big Ten. I mean, this team has turned the corner that they have always been, that the whole time he's been there, they've been trying to do. I mean, this is finally the Michigan State or the Michigan team that we've always expected under Harbaugh. I mean, you talk about Penn State beating everybody, so is Michigan. I mean, they've done nothing but dominate. I mean, 44-point win, 46-point win, 59-point win, 7-point win against a Big Ten opponent, 13-point win against a Big Ten opponent, 21-point win against a Big Ten opponent. And this year it's at home. I mean, Penn State last year, I believe, had only lost one game coming into the Michigan game and lost in their house. And so I think Michigan at home, I think the vibe in Ann Arbor is different this year. They got playoffs on their mind. And I don't want to hear none of this trash
Now
about
that is
Penn
the issue.
State.
They do have playoffs on their mind. They don't have this game on their mind, ladies and gentlemen. You notice how he says Big Ten opponent because he doesn't want to tell you who the Big Ten opponents are. Let me go ahead and read them out for you. Maryland, listen, Tua's little brother, is not the greatest quarterback we've seen. He's transferred from Alabama. They only won that one by 7. Then at Indiana, 11-point win is a disgrace. Or a 21-point win is a disgrace. That game was close in the first half. We all saw it. I believe it was tied in the first half. This Michigan team better come out strong because I'm telling you right now, Penn State will come out ready to play and they will get that win. That's all I'm going to say.
You're acting like, first of all, we're acting like Iowa doesn't have a good defense, which they do, and Michigan still scored, I don't know, 30, how many was it? 27 points. I mean, that's good. Penn State does not have a good defense like that. And then also, you're talking trash about Maryland. You're talking trash about a 4-2 before last week was a 4-1 Maryland team getting votes to be ranked, and you're just acting like they're, Rutgers. I mean, we love Rutgers on the show. Listen, they got a beautiful campus. We love the people in New Jersey that go to Rutgers that claim the Big Ten, even though they're really close to the ACC. But listen, I mean, Maryland is a solid team. I mean, we can't just act like Maryland's a bad team. That's all I'm saying.
Come on
Listen,
now, brother.
listen. They're not the Ohio State of the Big Ten, but come on. I mean, Maryland in the Big 12, or I mean, they'd be like a top 4 team. Come on. I mean, Maryland would have a guaranteed win over Texas if they were in the Big 12, as we've seen in recent years. Although Texas is a little different this year, but if they played when Quinn was out, I mean, it's an automatic win. Listen, all I'm saying is Sean Clifford is not good. I mean,
no, sir.
Michigan is going to steamroll. At the very worst, it's going to be like, what's the spread? It's like 6.5.
Yeah, it's about a touchdown.
7. At the very worst, it's going to be that. I think Michigan probably covers and wins, like, I don't know. I mean, I think it might be kind of low scoring. I mean, we've seen how Big Ten games play, but I still think it's going to be like 31-21 Michigan. I mean, I don't think it's going to be close.
Here's all I need to say, Jacob. Iowa scored 2 touchdowns against Michigan. That's all I need to say. If they're going to allow the worst offense in America, I think Penn State will be all right.
No.
Iowa.
We'll see.
Scored 2 touchdowns. I think UMass would score at least more than what Iowa has against their schedule this year because their offense is just disgusting.
Yeah, that's not true. UMass would literally not score against any Power 5 team, but
now UMass fans don't come after us. Jacob is one of those. All right, thank y'all for tuning in. Jacob, you got anything else for us here?
Nah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us which one of us you agree with, because we disagree. We don't normally disagree on these prediction videos, but this week we're butting heads a little bit.
And let me just say something. We are both 4-0 on predictions so far. So this weekend will be the test. Who is the reverse fortune teller, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. We might have to find out this weekend.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for tuning in.